How you doing?
Yeah, not bad. Yourself?
Yeah, good. Good Monday.
Yeah, not bad. How has it been since bread and jam?
Good man. I'm spinning too many plates probably at the moment, so it's I'm like trying to catch up, bit of catch up, but I'm getting there.
Did
It's
you
still
enjoy
too
it?
hot. I struggle to work when it's hot outside.
Yeah, it's not too hot now. It can't make its mind up where I live in.
But yeah, I'm more of a winter worker, I guess.
Uh, so, did you find bread and jam fest great? Did you get to hear many speeches? Or I know you did a couple of them yourself.
Yeah, I was really just catching up with a lot of people that I've not seen for quite a few years. So Um, yeah, it was nice to see everybody, meet someone like yourself as well.
Yeah.
So that was good.
Um,
Yeah.
Anything in particular stand out in the festival?
No, I haven't been in person for like 4 or 5 years. So like the size of it versus the first few years that happened is like really changed, and there's so many people creating brands that yeah, it's exciting. And there's an ecosystem around it now that wasn't there before. There's a support network of people that you can speak to. As when we started our business, what, like 2012, there really weren't that many people doing it.
Hmm.
Um, whereas now there's like lots of founders that you can get advice from and people you can meet. And if you go to that event, you can kind of find all the bits and pieces you need to start a company, right?
I think that's what I found. This is first bread and jam I came to, and I just was taken back by how open everyone was. Like to
Yeah,
approach yourself or approach other people who I've either followed for a long time, respected for, and seen
yeah,
the progress of those people's business and how well they're doing, to actually just be able to come up to you guys and talk to you and
right. Yeah, it's because everybody else, I think, also at one point did the same, right?
yeah.
Like we all didn't know what we were doing, and so we often asked other people for advice, and so you kind of like keep the chain going, I guess.
Is that
Uh,
what happened in the first bread and jam for yourself, or was it?
uh, yeah, like it's all I'm always learning, right? So like a lot of the people at those events, I like am still asking questions of on like a regular basis. I've just met them before now, so it's a bit easier for me to say text somebody or email someone for quick advice. Whereas I think for someone like you, if that was your first one, you're meeting people for the first time, right? But
Yeah.
now, if you wanted to email me and say, "Hey Hugh, who's good at this?" Like I'd answer you because we've met. And I think during COVID that was a lot harder, right? Because people it was online and we
Yeah.
didn't get those. You don't get those connections the same way. So I think that's why in-person events are really good because you never know when it's going to pay off, right? It might be 3 years time when you email me saying, "Do I know someone?" But
Yeah.
it will track back to bread and jam, right? So even for me, it's kind of hard to remember who I've met there, but um, you never know. You never know when it's going to come back and be somebody that's worthwhile talking to.
And was there any little golden nuggets you got out of this year?
No, honestly, to be honest, to me, like I left Ugly last year, so I've been taking time out really. So for me, it was just like interesting to see where UK food and beverages is going. I do think for any startup right now, worrying about costs is being sensible with spend and cost is important. I saw there were quite a few talks about that. And I
Mm.
think expanding too fast and spending too much money is going to be a real challenge of the next few years. So I know there were quite a few panels on that, and that seemed to be a subject of conversation that people were having.
Cool. Just
Oh,
could you give a bit of context on your background? So obviously you're a co-founder of Ugly.
yeah.
Um, and if I got it right, you worked for Vita Coco before that?
Yeah, I did. So, like, when I was a student at university, I worked for Vitamin Water, which eventually sold to Coca-Cola. And then my first job out of university, I actually worked on Heinz baked beans and then Heinz tomato ketchup in the marketing departments. And then I always wanted to start my own business, but I wanted to get some entrepreneurial experience first. And I saw Vita Coco was launching in the UK. It's maybe 6 months to a year into launching at that point. So I joined there in my early 20s. And we kind of, the young team we had then built that company from less than £1 million revenue to what, 50 million plus revenue in 3-4 years that I worked there. And that's where Joe and I met, both working there. And we decided to start Ugly, which we launched initially. We started it in my apartment in London and Joe's apartments, like when we were, 23, 24. Launched it in the UK into online retailers, and then I moved to America 5 years ago to launch the business over there. The business ended up in about 10,000 retailers in America, online and offline. We still have the UK business, but there were a lot of challenges during the coronavirus period, and inflation hit the business in a very challenging way. And then it also, running the business from my apartment in New York really took its toll on me health-wise the last couple of years. So yeah, I decided to leave the business the end of last year. Now kind of got a blank canvas with what I do next, but we'll always be involved in startups and food and drink.
Cool. So could you give me your like preconceived ideas on like the brand or what you
Your
are
brand?
expecting? Yeah, my brand, and
Brand.
what you're expecting to taste when you try it.
So like this, I have not tried this yet. I was waiting to do it live on the call, right? I don't know if that's what you want me to do or
Yeah,
not, but
perfect.
I've got it
Perfect.
open. So like, um, so for me in general, I'm trying to drink less alcohol now.
Yeah.
So less in general or lower ABV. So the fact it's 1.2%, I think is great. Like that for me is immediately personally a green light. It's the way I want to be drinking now. Is low. I don't want to get drunk. I want to enjoy the drink. Um, and the fact that there's lots of great things about what you've created here. The fact that it's cleaner, so like lower alc, is great for me. I can smell already, and I've not tasted that, but I can smell it's going to be good for my gut versus a regular beer. I can smell it. You can smell it's almost like hints of kombucha in there a little bit. You can
Yes.
smell the fermentation, and then I think it's a bonus that you're using leftovers to make this too. The name's good, isn't it? Breadrin. It's I don't know where you make the product, but it makes a lot of sense. Um,
So
I
I got the name from because I stumbled across this product watching Sunday Brunch, and I wanted to make this drink because at the time I was a baker, and I found it hard to explain what kvass is to people. It's basically a drink made of bread, and if you say that, it just totally puts people off straight away. So
yeah
I was trying to find I was trying to figure out if I want to work for another company or who make it or not, or if I want to start my own. So I was trying to figure, and I got myself a chat with the Goat Agency. I don't know if you heard of them. And so I went to the offices a couple of years ago, and it was quite daunting. So I was trying to think of a way to explain what kvass is. So I came up this term of it's kombucha's brother from another mother because it's
yeah.
like
I get it.
it's when you like make something like a sourdough, you make it from a starter, which normally is made from a mother. You call it a mother starter. So then
Yeah,
it came to me. So I'm like, okay, that's quite cool. What and kvass is normally made on the streets or sold on the
yeah,
streets. So it's quite urbany. So an urban term for brother is brethren. So
yeah.
that's how I got the name. Or a simple way of making it is bread and drink combined, and voila.
I feel like you should have that line, kombucha's brother from another mother on this pack somewhere. But it's great. Like, can I have a drink now? Am I allowed to drink
Yeah,
this?
go for it. Go
You
for
have
it.
this one says it's avocado and lime leaf. Is there another
Yes.
flavor that I'm missing?
No,
No.
so it's made from sourdough, avocado leaf, and lime leaf. So
You can taste all of it. It's delicious. It's really great. It's like You know, you say brunch IPA on here, and I do get like hints of IPA. It
Yeah,
tastes like it should be stronger than 1.2%, but that's a good thing because I quite like the taste of an IPA, which is normally what, like 4 to 6%, right? I
yeah.
guess. Um, I can taste the definitely taste the lime leaf. I don't know what avocado leaf tastes like. I guess
So
it's like
avocado doesn't really taste of much. It's more like the creaminess from it. But avocado leaves, as a chef, I've found this fascinating. It brings like an aniseedy taste. So you should have like this undertone or subtleness of aniseed in it.
mhm, I can taste that. Now you've said it. So this was made with still water, not carbonated. I
No,
guess it's
still,
carbonated by the fermentation, isn't it?
yes. And we've added a little bit more carbonation to give it that beeriness feel.
Got it. And what in when it says full of good gut stuff, what am I drinking that's good for my gut?
So when you do a fermentation, it creates a thing called lactobacillus,
Yeah.
which is seen in kombucha. So it's a very similar thing in the product.
So so when did you launch this?
So I came up with I watched Sunday Brunch in 2019, and I've been working on it for a couple of years. I launched to trade in December this last year. So, and we're about to go to the public in the next month or two.
Have you gone? Are you going to go on Sunday brunch?
I wouldn't say no.
Have you told them that you gave them the idea?
Uh, no, I haven't approached them yet.
Should do. You should do, man. Because I feel like this product's what they'd want on the show.
Mm,
You should do it. If it inspired you, you should get on that because we'll
yeah,
make a LinkedIn campaign out of it to get you on. Somebody will know how to get you on
that'd be
there.
quite nice.
Yeah,
So
when
I
you're
do have
ready.
drink. It'd be quite cool seeing Tim and Simon. It'd
Yeah.
be so odd.
Cheers, cheers, Tim. Cheers, Simon. With
Yeah.
the Breadrin. Honestly, I bet they'd be so stoked by that. I can't think they've had anyone inspired by the show make a product and then sell it.
No.
Surely not. You should get on. They'd love it.
So I do this thing called Drinkadvisor. Could you rate it out of 5? It's like similar to TripAdvisor. So instead of you rating like a restaurant or hotel, we rate a drink. So could you rate this out of 5?
Yeah, I don't think many drinks get a 5 out of 5. So I give this a 4. I actually like it a lot.
And
I
what's your headline comment?
what, one word or how many words do I get?
Well, I don't know. Just a headline.
No, I'd say if you like beer but you're looking for something better for you, that's like lower, that reminds you of the taste of a great IPA but without the high alcohol content and then other benefits. And this is great. I feel
Cool.
like I feel like it's also if you like the taste of kombucha too, and those
Yes.
fermented drinks like apple cider vinegar and even natural wine, like there's something in it for you as well. It kind of crosses the gap between that like a sour fermented taste and a lager
I
or
think
a
that's what I'm finding hard at this early stage because although kvass is massive in Eastern Europe, it's like as big as Coca-Cola out there.
yeah.
Um, no one's heard of it over here, and this is like trying to start my own category, but then
Yeah.
it's a really tough one because I find this in although I've branded it as a beer. It's not a beer, but it's not a kombucha. So it's like in this in between. So
It's a
very
bit like
hard.
mead.
Yes,
You
it's
should
a
speak
very
to
hard.
you should speak to Tom Gosnell from Gosnell's Mead.
Okay, I've not heard of them, but I'll give them a
Yeah,
check.
I'll put the link in the chat for you here. I know
Cool.
Tom quite well, and he's obviously built a big mead business, And
Yeah.
mead's similar, right? Like it's, I mean, it was old. I'm putting it in the chat for you here if you're interested. But obviously, he's built his business around mead, which was I guess I know a historic drink almost, right? It was something that they had in medieval times, and then
Yeah.
he brought it back. So yeah, that could be interesting for you to talk to him.
So, do
Um,
you believe there is like a potential for this product?
yeah, I'd like. I think you have to set your expectations in a slightly different way to other companies. I think something like Gosnells will get, I think, or even Kvass, right? You can sell it in the early adopter craft beer bars, craft beer boxes, like places where people want to discover new stuff because they're discovering new beers every week. There's nothing
Yeah.
wrong with discovering, you know, a new cider, mead, a different type of wine, Kvass, etc. So like going deep into that is a big opportunity. But then also starting to think about international expansion too, as well. I feel like markets like Norway, Sweden, etc., and other markets will not have modern Kvasses. So
Yeah.
it's probably you're probably more likely to have success focusing on craft and the places where people discover new drinks than say Kvass being sold in every Tesco's in the UK in
Yeah.
5 years' time. I think that's going to take a long time. But I actually think you can build a big business if you just focus on like people who like trying new beers, which there's a lot of people like that.
Yeah.
Look at all the beer delivery boxes and craft beer bars and BrewDog, etc. Like there's a lot of people who like that stuff, but you actually go into a supermarket, it's the mainstream stuff that's bigger. So I think if you get the distribution right, build quite a big business. You can probably sell a lot in Sweden to the same places
Mm.
before you launch into say try and push yourself to launch into Sainsbury's and Tesco's and put yourself under that pressure. I actually think you'll have a more successful business if you just focus on selling it in the
Smaller.
places, yeah, selling it in the places where people are passionate about craft beer and trying new beverages. Same as mead, Gosnells, I'm sure. I don't know where he's selling now, but
Mm.
maybe you can even do it on draft in places too, or have your own
Cool.
Kvass bar, have your own Kvass bar somewhere in London for people to go and try it. I think if you focus on that versus trying to get it into big retail, it'll be successful.
Cool. 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 So, obviously, I've funded this startup by myself. I've
It's
not
awesome.
I've not gained any investment at all. It's quite scary when you have an idea and you just go full pelt for it and hope it works. How did you find the funding for like when you started Ugly? And
I
was
think
that hard?
yeah, like when we started, we funded a lot of the early part ourselves too. So like it would be money coming in from salary, and then you're paying for a trademark or a
Yeah.
website, or you know, we worked with the same designer actually, didn't we? So
Yes.
Mike, so we're like you know working with Mike and hustling and trying to get stuff done early. But then it came to a point where we needed to. I think we initially raised £120,000, and that was from I think about 16 different people in the end. So we broke it down into bite-sized chunks. Um, Obviously pitched a lot of people for money. And then you know, if you want to get 10 people to invest, you have to pitch probably 100 people or find 100 people.
Yeah.
Um, so based on like, that's just like anything. If you invited 100 people to your birthday party, maybe get 20 people to show up, right? When it comes down to it.
Yeah.
It's the same thing as, so you need to get, and when 80 people say they can't make it, you're not upset necessarily because people have plans, people have other things. And investment's the same. It's like if you speak to 100 people and 90 people say no, it's not necessarily because they don't like it. It's just timing, place. Maybe they've just invested in a beer, or they've just put their last investment in, or they don't like the taste. Like it's not for everyone. So you have to just take the no's and just be like, okay, I'm just looking for the yeses. The next one will be a yes.
And did it scare you at any point at that early
Always.
stage
Yeah,
where
always.
where
It's
you
hard. Rejection's a
question
hard thing,
yourself?
isn't it? Yeah, rejection's a hard thing, isn't it?
Mm.
People wouldn't start businesses if it wasn't scary, but that's where the magic is. That's where the fun is. That's when you feel alive because you know, we're only on this planet for a short amount of time. If you're not going to risk stuff and take a chance, then that's how I want to live, right? It's like taking a chance. Like it's amazing that you've got it this far, and now obviously it needs a bit more fuel. I had a coach in America. He always likened the journey to being like the captain of a ship, or and you're like, setting sail into the open sea, right? And you're the
Yeah.
captain on the ship, and whatever waves and weather comes at you, like you can't turn around because the weather's the same going back the other way. So you need to keep going. You need to keep the ship afloat. You need to keep the crew happy. You
Yeah,
need to like make
it
sure
is.
there's wind in the sails. Yeah.
It is tough. It's like when you see you progress, you go, oh, it's amazing day. And like if you have someone wanting to start, you go, yes. And then
Yeah.
next day something comes plummeting hitting you, and you're
You need
thinking,
to
oh no.
Well, that's the thing. That's the thing that you need to. I really struggled with it towards the end, is like dealing with the ups and downs. Like they were so high and so low. And that's why I think it's important to have the things outside of work that you keep you balanced. So for me, it became like exercising, which I never did enough of when I first started the business. But towards the end, I realized that if I was working out every day, I felt a bit more chilled and balanced. And the same with sleeping properly as well. When I was sleeping better, I could deal with the highs and lows better.
Yeah.
Um, and drinking less alcohol too, and eating healthier. Those things like made the stress easier to deal with. But I learned it way too late to actually make an impact on me. But I
And
think, yeah, that's so like I feel like that's an important thing.
you mentioned you moved over to New York. So
Yeah,
I'm going crazy. I've decided to go traveling at an early stage with my family of five, as well as running this business, because I put into place everything in from I've got a brewery in Scotland, I've got a distribution fulfillment company, I've got a Shopify website to work. Every step along the line, I've like ticked off. Right, I've got into place, and
yeah,
although I'm totally focused on the business, I had to still have a life outside the business and
yeah.
move. And as a
That's
family,
important.
we've decided to enjoy life and go and seek adventure across the other side of the world.
Are
So
you
how
moving
do
to
you
America?
plan?
Are you moving to
Yeah,
America?
we're moving to the Philippines
Oh, you are.
in a couple of weeks, so it's quite scary. How did you find it working the other side of the world when it came to
It's it's not easy, but I think if you create rules, and you'll learn, and you'll try things that will work and doesn't work. And I think you need to realize that there'll be days where you're like, this is not working, or something I'm doing is not working. Maybe you work too many hours, or you're waking up too early, or you're staying up too late at night. I think in on working in the Philippines, it'll be late nights, won't it? Or maybe very early mornings,
yeah,
maybe. And I feel like you need to create some rules around it that keep you and your family healthy and that the business works. So maybe you say, I do not check my phone before this time of day, or I stop doing emails at this time, or whatever it is for you. I think blocking it up so that you're very focused, you can actually get a lot done. I think you can get a lot of work done in like 2 hours, really.
yeah,
Um, and like now we've had COVID, most things can work remotely. So I don't think there's any reason not to enjoy it. I just think don't let the business control you. When I first moved to America, I'd wake up in the morning and I'd have emails from the UK. And the
yeah.
first thing I did every day was check my emails at 6:30 in the morning, whatever it was when I was waking up. And one email could ruin my morning. And then I'd be grumpy, and then I'd maybe manage a meeting wrong when I got into work. And so for me, it was about I'm not checking my emails until like at least I'm sat at my desk and I've exercised or had a cup of coffee. Um, and that made me a much, I mean, I like a nicer person. Hopefully, didn't always work, but it's that sort of like, all right, I'm going to spend time with my family now. This is family time, because you don't want to let a kvass business affect that. I mean, life's too short to family's number one,
It,
right? But yeah,
yeah, it's hard, and I know this probably sounds bad, but it is hard as a founder to switch off, because literally my head's constantly thinking
yeah.
every 5 minutes of the day, going, "Oh, I need to do that. I need to email that person. Have I thought about this? What needs to get done?" And it's so
But
easy
yeah,
to just
but it's
flick through my
infinite,
phone. Yeah,
infinite amount of work, right?
Yeah,
it's never done. So like you have
no.
to stop yourself and go like, okay, now it's family time because you never get that time back either.
Is it? Sorry, is exactly like what Emma said from Lucky Saint, was it? That you had a chat
Yeah.
and you've got to have to be strict and say no. It has to be here to here.
You're
That
gonna have
time.
still gonna have to fly back to go on Sunday brunch though.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind that. So, I do few questions. So, is there something you are bitter about, and currently that so is there something that you're bitter about currently and hope to resolve, and how do you plan to go about it?
Bitter.
Yeah.
There's a long list. No, I'm joking. Um, no, I feel like I've kind of gone through that stage of my life where I had bitterness. I don't feel like that anymore, but there are that I am trying to resolve uh what I do next, right? In my life. I was actually something doing today. I was kind of setting myself some 10-year goals. Because
Okay.
ever since I was like, 10, 11 years old, I always knew I wanted to start a business like Ugly. And when
Yeah.
I feel like for almost 20 years, I had one goal. And then that's kind of I've moved past that now, and I'm now going into the next phase, and that's what I'm trying to work through right now. Um, yeah, so I'm figuring it out. It's
Cool.
not easy, is it?
Nope.
No.
So we redefine the term IPA. So instead of it being Indian Pale Ale, we say it's an ideal plausible alternative.
I
If you
like that.
I credit Mike
A
for
lot of
that one.
good phrases. Yeah, I like it.
So if you could choose to redefine anything, what would it be and why?
Success. What is
Okay.
success? I
Okay.
feel like I feel like too many people do things that they think will make them happy or successful, whether it's like trying to make lots of money or or even do conventional things that everybody else does, like have a big wedding and things like that. But in reality, it's like really understanding what makes you tick, what validates you. Like, why do you need to make what are you looking for when you're looking for validation? Why are you posting that on the internet? Why are you doing anything? I think
Mm,
that's worth really examining. Like I'm still doing the work myself, why do any of this? Why, are people doing things because their parents want them to, or because of this or that? And I think that's really important to redefine because a lot of people think, you imagine someone successful, you imagine like money, fame, etc. But really, it's not about that.
I would say you're successful. Did you feel validation?
Yeah.
Did you feel validation on how far you took ugly, or did you get to that
No, I
stage where you thought I've
yeah,
got to where my dreams were, but it's still not good enough?
yeah, I was there. And you know what? Like my dream became a nightmare, and that was the hardest thing for me to get my head around. That I'd worked like 10 years towards something, and I got there, and it was not making me happy. And that's like a weird place to be. It's like they say, never meet your heroes, right? It's like similar to that. It was like you got there, and then it was like, wow, this isn't making me happy.
Mm,
So that takes some recalibration, right? So yeah, that's kind of my experience of it.
cool. Are you a fan of brunch?
Yeah, of course, and Sunday brunch.
So, what would you order food and drink wise if you went for brunch?
It's a very good question. I've not actually had brunch for a while. Sometimes I can be quite simple, like just scrambled eggs or just eggs on toast. Like sometimes that's what I want. Um, at very rare occasion would it be a full English fry up nowadays, but like there is something special about that.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, classically now like much more simple than I used to be. Scrambled or poached eggs and then something else.
And drink wise, coffee? Are you a big coffee
Yeah,
fan?
coffee would yeah, no milk in my coffee anymore if I can. Black coffee, probably one at the beginning and one at the end.
And what do you think our biggest USP is?
Well, it's a good question. I think that's going to be your biggest challenge. I do think it is the gut health part of it, probably.
Okay. Well, why is that?
Because I don't think any of the other alcohols talk about it. I think there's other low alc options, and I think the sustainability kind of use of the bread piece is like done by other brands or could be.
Toast.
Yeah, toast, and long term maybe there'll be other businesses doing it. Whereas I feel like if you think about wine and beer and cider, I don't think you're going, that's good for my gut.
No.
So I do think the good bacteria bit, it's a bit like yogurt and kombucha. It's like people like that, and gut health's important. And I think if you can unlock that, I think there's examples too where, the word kvass, right, and the origins of the word will be different to some people. And I feel like when you link it with gut health, there's good examples of products that have, kombucha as a word, lassi, isn't it? And there's a couple of other yogurts as well that are yogurt drinks. I can't remember. Kefir is the other one, where there's examples of words that maybe people find a bit strange to approach, but once they learn that there's a functional benefit like gut health is helpful. Whereas I don't think linking that word with low alc or sustainable necessarily will link in consumers' heads the same way.
Okay, cool. And thank you for joining me today.
No, it's honestly, it's awesome you are doing this. Like, the brand's great, the product tastes really good. There's a lot of potential. My only thing would just be like to stay really focused and go niche rather than dreaming of getting in supermarkets, because I think that would harm the journey versus make it better. I'd try and get in those like Beer 52 boxes. I'd get into all the bottle shops, some cool bars and restaurants, and get on Sunday brunch.
Yes.
Which you should be able to do. Let me know if you need help doing that. I definitely can.
And I'll credit you if I get on there. I'll say, Hugh.
Yeah, do it. Oh, well, cheers, Tim. Cheers, Simon. Cheers, Hugh. That's what you need. And then I'll give you one back.
There you go. I'll clip this one and I'll be like, there you go.
Yeah, put this on LinkedIn. Let's tag everyone. Let's get Tim Lovejoy and Simon Rimmer. Somebody I know, somebody on LinkedIn will get you on that TV show to say you were inspired by the show.
Yeah, it's strange because I love the show and I don't normally get to watch it. And there was one Sunday where the kids were going crazy, running around, and they do this part where they try all different foods and from a different part, or like if it's vegan or if it's I don't know. And it was this Eastern European, and the last one was kvass. And it just sparked an interest for me. I was like, whoa, rewind that. Let's hear it again. And then because I've never brewed.
Me to try and get on though. Honestly, I reckon you can get on if you really try.
I've never brewed in my life. I've never been in the drinks industry. I just a small micro bakery in Essex, and I gave up the micro bakery to turn into a drinks company, and here I am today.
Yeah, and that's exactly what you're going to say when you're live on Channel 4.
with probably a lot of stutters and arms and
It's part of it, man. It's part of the whole thing, isn't it? It's like that's what's exciting about it. It's just real. The whole thing. It's like, it's great. I really enjoyed this, man. Like, and you cannot go head to head with like lager and beer. This is like mead. It's like it's its own thing. It's different, and people should enjoy it for what it is, and just be passionate about it. But you're doing everything great.
Cheers, Hugh.
Yeah, no, it's cool. I'm glad we made this work. It was fun.
Perfect.
I appreciate you sending me it. This is delicious as well. I'm going to finish this now.
Oh, thanks. And have
it's
a great day.
Thanks, man. Take care, mate.
Cheers, mate. Bye.
Bye.